You don't have to spend too long on YouTube to find videos that tell you, oh, you can get abs in 60 days, or you can get abs in 90 days, or this 10-minute ab workout. The problem with these videos is that they're promising you something that you're not going to get, especially in the time frame that they're saying. And to be honest, I think that these videos, because of the false promises, hinder your progress way more than actually help you. With that understanding, I'm going to explain how you can end up getting abs if you stick around till the end. All right, I want to share with you a fallacy that I heard a while back, and it's called the swimmer's body illusion. Imagine someone who was in bad shape, they were super overweight and they wanted to get fit and healthy, and they started to look at bodybuilders, and they go to Chris Bumstead and they're like, that guy's a bit too big for my liking, and that guy looks a bit stupid and boring. They end up looking at runners, and they look at someone like Mo Farah and they're like, that guy looks a bit tweedy, so I'm not going to go for that. But then they look at swimmers and they see Michael Phelps and they're like, whew, I want his body. And so they just start swimming every single day. They go down to bloody Bushy Grove Leisure Centre. This is the local leisure centre near my house back at home. They start doing lengths every single day, right? I'm going to call this guy Tom. And Tom's doing his lengths every single day. He's going swimming. He's like, yeah, I'm going to get Michael Phelps' body. One day in the pool, they pull off their goggles and they're like, I haven't got Michael Phelps' body. And I'm like, no shit, Sherlock. Swimmers don't look the way that they do because they swim. They swim because the way that they look. It's the exact same reason why basketball players are over 6 foot, because the guys that are super tall end up being really good at basketball. They don't just get tall by playing basketball. This is a fallacy and illusion. And this same principle applies to loads of different sports, okay? Let's take rugby, for example. Now, back in my day, I was a pretty big teenager. Got to 125 kilos. I was under 14 A team. And I played rugby for 7 years throughout my time at school. And I was the biggest guy on every single team. And so naturally, I played prop. Now, playing that position didn't make me big. I played that position because I was big. And so do you want to know the most important factor for looking absolutely fantastic? It's genetics. So I go to Nirvana Life and Fitness at the moment in Bali. It's a fantastic gym and every single person there is in really good shape, taking care of their health. They're training, they're eating healthy, like it's just the culture there, right? And even there is people that probably eat super healthy, train really hard, that don't look objectively as good as someone that doesn't train as much, but has better genetics. And for those of us that are not genetically blessed, we do have to work a little bit harder, which is fine. I don't have a problem with that. I'm probably better at maths than some people that look really good, all right? It's just the game that the gods have created in this world. And the point here is that for a lot of people, naturally, they'll just stay in good shape year round. I have a friend, he's a Tamil guy. He's quite short and he's just got really good genetics. He's always lean. One of the reasons for that is that he has a higher non-exercise activity thermogenesis, big word. But the point here is that he's just fidgeting all the time, he gets really hot, he's burning loads of calories, and so naturally he just stays slim. I don't do that. I can't just make myself fidget, although I have tried that in the past. And so when people are looking really good, when they're younger, when they're teenagers, they start going to the gym a little bit, do you know what people say to them? Oh, why don't you become a personal trainer? Because they look really good. And because of that, they end up becoming personal trainers and they start posting online because they want to grow their business. And so most people in the fitness industry don't look the way that they do because of what they preach. They preach what they do because of the way that they look. And because of this, when people like personal trainers, online coaches say, oh, this is the workout that you can get if you do it 10 minutes a day to get abs in 60 days, or this is how you can get abs in 90 days, or this is how you can get abs in 60 days. Remember that these guys are talking from a position where they're coming from a place where they're already in really good shape. They haven't gone through that journey. They don't understand the struggles that us mere mortals need to go through. And because of that, it creates this false illusion that you can get abs. And I think this creates an inferiority complex. And it happened with me where you see these people online, and the people that get pushed on social media have the top 1% physiques, okay? These guys are at the top of their industry, they have the best physique, and they are showing the best of their physique as well. Let me give you an example. So recently I did a mastermind in Bali with a guy called Louis Armstrong. He's in good shape himself, but his friend, Mike Thurston, who I've followed for years, really good knowledge by the way, nothing against him, but even Louis Armstrong said that on days that he's filming, he will not drink water in the morning and not eat, so that he can look as lean as possible for the shoot. And you have to understand that people are going through lengths that we don't really understand to look really good on camera, and then this gets pushed on social media, and then we end up comparing ourselves to this ideal in our head of what we think that we should look like, but that is based on this expectation that is created from what we see online. Now I'm going to explain how this affects your own progress in a minute, but before that I need to explain something about human nature. As humans, we naturally compare ourselves, and there's nothing wrong with it. It's actually a survival mechanism. Social comparison theory was introduced by this guy called Leon Festinger in 1954, and it explains how and why people compare themselves together. But in summary, the idea is that when we were living in our tribe, and imagine I was there in this hunter-gatherer tribe and I wasn't as strong as the people around me, right? By comparing myself to the people around me, that would motivate me to get stronger. And because of this comparison that everyone is doing, we would continually try to improve ourselves and get better, and this would improve the long-term chances of survival of our tribe. However, as I said before, the problem now is that we are now exposed to not just our tribe, but everyone on social media. And as I said, the top 1% physiques are getting pushed. And so we end up just comparing ourselves to these top 1% physiques. And the other thing that we don't see is that people with these top 1% physiques, they share their learnings, they share what they learn, and they say, okay, get abs in 60 days. But it might not have even taken them 60 days to get abs. It might have taken them way longer. We see people at their best, but we don't see the training ground. We only see the trophy, but we don't see the training ground. We only see the view from the top, we don't see the climb. And because of that, we create an illusion in our head that we need to get to that result as quick as possible. Our expectations become inflated and unrealistic. And because of that, we get disheartened because we don't see what we want. And I think that this causes us to go off track and never achieve what we truly want. Now, what I want to do is actually just share with you, as I promised at the beginning, how you can actually go and get abs. Because there are 3 learnings from me and from having compared myself to other people in the past that I'm now practicing that is going to help me achieve my goals. And the first of those is to just lengthen the time horizon. When I used to set a vision for myself or set a goal for myself, I'd say, yeah, I want to be lean, I want to be 12% body fat by March. And so that would create this unrealistic deadline for myself. And so I would try and do some extreme dieting. I would try and diet really hard. I would try to go really deep into the deficit. I would do loads of cardio. And then just 2 weeks before the deadline, I'd be at this point where I'd be like, I don't want to do this anymore. And so I wouldn't be able to stick with it. And because of that, I would stop before things got good. And I would never achieve the lean 6-pack set of abs that I wanted to achieve. And I think a way better approach is just to say, look, I'm going to keep taking action. I'm going to keep making sure that I'm hitting my calories. I'm going to make sure that I'm going to do my steps. I'm going to make sure that I'm going to train every single day. And eventually, by building these habits and focusing solely on that, I'm going to get my result, but I don't care how long it takes. I'm going to lengthen the time horizon. And when you do this, we never get to a state where we need to do things that are unsustainable, because the whole point of this is that we need to make sure that we can do it forever, because we're lengthening the time horizon and we're happy that we're just making progress. And if you do this, if you truly internalize this, if you say to yourself, you know what, I'm going to just give myself a year, I'm going to give myself 2 years, I'm not going to rush the process, I'm going to be patient, I'm going to allow myself to take the time to do this properly and not rush it, I guarantee over a 3, 4, 5 year period, you're going to make way more progress than just dieting for 12 weeks and then falling off the bandwagon, then gaining back all the weight that you lost and then recycling that. Because if you do this for a year and eventually you've lost 20 kilos and you're able to maintain it, then you can actually just build muscle from there. And you can focus on that for 2, 3 years. And if you can do that, then your physique's going to look way better rather than continually just going into a deficit and then coming out and then going back in and then going out, because that is not a good way to live. You're never going to build more tissue. And this is what happened with me, where I was just consistently going back into deficits where I don't think I built as much muscle as I could have in the time, because I was consistently underfeeding myself, because I was trying to claw back the weight that I'd gained through rebounding and binging. The next tip is to measure the gain and not the gap. What do I mean by this? Often when we set goals for ourselves, we say, okay, I need to lose weight, I want to get into this shape. We imagine this version of ourselves that is super lean, that walks down the beach, is super happy. But this is just a figment of our imagination. And so we end up comparing ourselves to this ideal, which doesn't exist. And because of that, we're never satisfied, we're never happy, we're never content, and we're always falling short. And instead what you can do is you can compare yourself to where you were a week ago, a month ago, 2 months ago. And when you do that, it's way more motivating. I want to introduce you to a concept called the hedonic treadmill. And this is the idea that you achieve something, you feel a rush of happiness, and over time that excitement fades and you get used to this new happiness level that you're at. And so you crave something to get the next high. So let's say you lose weight, you get in shape, you get the six pack. Eventually you just get used to having that six pack and you crave something else. And so if you're continually just comparing yourself against the ideal that you set for yourself, you're never going to be satisfied. You're never going to be content because that ideal is always going to shift. The goalpost always shifts. You're always never going to be satisfied. And so I think a better way to go about it is, yes, have a vision for yourself. Set goals, like nothing against that. I think it's great. But once you've set the vision, once you've set the goal, then just measure yourself against where you were a month ago, because that is way more motivating to think, okay, 2 weeks ago I wasn't even doing a workout, now I am. 2 weeks ago I wasn't even tracking my food, now I am. 2 weeks ago I wasn't doing my steps, now I am. And when you do that, you get motivated by the progress that you've made, and that makes you go and do even more, rather than just continually being dissatisfied with where you're at because you're comparing yourself to an ideal that doesn't exist. If you delay your happiness until you hit a certain goal, you will never be happy because the goal post will always change. And finally, the third tip to help you get a lean set of abs, once you've set the vision, is to just focus solely on the process. Once you've created the vision for yourself, focus on the process. I'm doing 75 hard at the moment. It's helping me get in better shape, which is awesome. I'm eating clean, 2 workouts per day, reading 10 pages per day, and drinking a gallon of water. And that's all the challenge is. And that is literally the reason why I love it, is because when you run a marathon, you're trying to chase the time. When you're doing something else, I don't know, a bodybuilding competition or a photo shoot, you're trying to chase a goal physique. Something so beautiful about something like 75 hard is that the goal is the process. You just have to show up and tick the boxes every single day. And it's amazing because you're not focused on something that you can't control. The question that I'm asking myself every single day is, what are the actions that I need to take today? And have I taken those actions? What do I need to eat? What activity do I need to do? What training do I need to do? And so I can be solely focused on the actions I need to take, not worrying about the result because it's not the goal. And I think when you go on a weight loss journey, if you can start to just internalize that way of thinking, where you're just constantly thinking about the process and the things that you need to do, eventually you will get the result that you want. You will look the way that you want because you're spending your time and energy on the things that actually matter. Success then becomes in your own control, and it means that you can be more motivated because, again, you're not comparing yourself against the result that you want, but you're comparing yourself against the things that you're doing. And when you're focusing on the process, just make it as fun as possible. Because remember, we're lengthening the time horizon. We're doing it for as long as it takes. And so it's got to be fun. And when you're going to reach that goal, another goal is going to appear. Another problem is going to come up. Life is about the pursuit. Life is about the journey. So just make it as fun as possible for yourself, and then your life will just be fun, and it doesn't really matter. If you like this video, then check out my other video where I share how you can make weight loss super, super easy for yourself. Thank you very much. And remember, become the person that you want to be. Peace.